Isang mansaya at mapagpalang araw muli sa ating mga learners at home learning partners. Kanina ay natunghayan natin ang lecture ng Grade 7 para sa linggong ito. Ngayon naman ay ipakikilala ko sa inyo ang magtuturo sa atin ng mathematics para sa ating Grade 8 learners. He is a Teacher 1 in City of Mandaluyong Science High School for 5 years. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education, major in Mathematics. And currently, he is a Grade 9 Math and ESP teacher. Our Grade 8 lecturer for today, Mr. Francis O. Daigon.
Magandang araw sa ating lahat, sa mga estudyante ng Division of Mandaluyong City, sa lahat ng estudyante ng City of Mandaluyong Science High School, sa lahat ng mga magulang, sa lahat ng kapwa ko guro na nagtuturo ng asignaturang matematika. Magandang araw sa ating lahat. I will discuss grade modules in grade 8, quarter 2, week 9. Our competency: the learner uses inductive and deductive reasoning in an argument. Our objective is to use inductive and deductive reasoning in an argument. We start our lesson with the definition of logic. Logic is the art and science of correct thinking. It is also defined as the science of reasoning, proof, thinking, or inference. When we say inference, it is an act or process of reaching a conclusion or opinion based on known facts. Through our logic, it helps us to examine a piece of reasoning or a thought and determine whether it is correct or not. Dahil ang ating objective ay to use inductive and deductive reasoning in an argument, so let's define an argument. So an argument consists of a set of claims. One of these is the conclusion and the other claims are called premises. That can be seen as the reason to support a certain conclusion that make us to believe that the conclusion is true. There are two basic parts of an argument. The first part is one or more premise, and the next part is the conclusion. So let's have an example. All cats are mammals. All tigers and lions are cats. Therefore, all tigers and lions are mammals. The first two statements are the premises, and the last statement is the conclusion. Let's have the second example. All doctors are frontliners. Mrs. Dison is a frontliner. Therefore, Mrs. Dison is a doctor. So makikita natin dito na yung premises natin ay true statement. But ang ating conclusion is not a true statement. Because from the premises, hindi natin masasabi or it does not guarantee that Mrs. Dison is a doctor based on our premises. We have two basic approaches for how we come to believe something is true. The first way is that we are exposed to several different examples of a situation, and from those examples, we conclude a general truth. The other way is starting up with the overall statement and then identifying examples that support it and use widely accepted truths to prove that the conclusion is right. These two basic approaches are what we call the inductive and deductive reasoning. So this reasoning is also called logical reasoning. So we will know inductive and deductive reasoning through comparison. Let's start with inductive reasoning. It uses specific examples to make general rules. It also begins with experience or a number of observations. An assumption is made that the pattern or trend will continue. The result is a conjecture. Conjectures may or may not be true. One counterexample proves the conjecture false. And it is also used to make educated guesses based on observation and patterns. So how about deductive reasoning? It begins with statements, laws, or rules that are considered true. Drawing conclusions from previous known facts on and opinions. It is used to draw conclusions that logically flow from the hypothesis. Conclusions must be true if all previous statements are true. Now, in inductive reasoning, as long as the premises are all true, there is no possibility that we will arrive with a false conclusion. So inductive reasoning is also called inductive logic, while deductive reasoning is called deductive logic. So in inductive reasoning, statements also usually start with based on patterns, observations, trial and error, and examples. While in deductive reasoning, because it always starts with facts that are considered true, then it may derive its first statement from laws, theorems, logic, postulates, definitions, rules, and actions. In inductive reasoning, observations will lead to conclusions. While in deductive reasoning, conclusions lead to other conclusions. Dahil nga ang deductive reasoning ay nag-start sa statement na considered as true, then this statement, we can consider this statement as a conclusion. Like yung postulates, laws, rules on mathematics, so we consider them as conclusion kasi nga they are accepted as true. Then from that statement, we can lead to another conclusive statement. So in inductive reasoning, it is judging by experience. It is often used to find patterns, aims at developing a theory. So while in deductive reasoning, it is judging by logical progression. It is used as a verification, aims at testing an existing theory. So ang aim niya ay to test existing theory, so it is used as a verification to verify whether a theory really applies to all in general. Let's have this situation. Say that you read in the news about a tradition in a local grocery store where employees wore basketball jerseys on Fridays to support their team. This time, you're starting from an overall rule. And you would expect individual evidence to support this rule. Each time you visited the store on a Friday, you would expect the employees to wear jerseys. So, base sa sitwasyon na ibinigay, there is a tradition na dun sa local grocery store, tuwing Biyernes ay nagsusuot ng basketball jersey ang mga empleyado. Now, dahil madalas ka dun sa grocery na yon, at tuwing pupunta ka ng Biyernes, napapansin mo na nakasuot ang mga empleyado ng basketball jersey. Then you come to the conclusion, dahil nga nabasa mo dun sa news na there is a tradition sa grocery store, you would expect na tuwing every Friday ay nakasuot ng basketball jersey yung mga empleyado as a support to their system. Now, this reasoning you employ is what we call a deductive reasoning. Kasi nga, nag-start ka from a general rule based doon na sa nabasa mo na sa news na yung mga empleyado ng grocery store ay may tradisyon na magsuot ng basketball jersey tuwing Biyernes. So, yun yung basis ng conclusion. So, ang conclusion mo ay you would expect that the employees to wear jerseys every Friday na pupunta ka dun sa grocery store. Let's take the second situation. While walking on your way to a convenience store, you notice a driver ahead of you signaled right, but turned left. In the next block, another woman driver is being ticketed by a traffic enforcer. On your way home, there was a car mishap at the main road's intersection to your street with a private car hitting the concrete barriers installed by the local traffic management office. And you found out from a bystander that the lady driver was brought to a nearby hospital for immediate medical attention. From what you have witnessed and saw that day, you come to your conclusions that women are poor and reckless drivers. Na anong ginamit mong reasoning? Bakit nag-arrive ka that women are poor and reckless drivers? Because of observations, because of repeated instances na na-involve yung mga babaeng driver sa traffic violation or traffic accident. So, kaya umabot ka sa punto na nag-base na ang iyong conclusion, kapag ang babae ay driver, they are poor and reckless driver. By that thinking, you employ inductive reasoning. So, based on examples, based on observations, so ayun yung inductive reasoning. So, let's have an example on how an inductive reasoning will discover a concept in mathematics through examples and observation. So let's have example number 1. So we have given a data 93 square is equal to 8,649 97 square is equal to 9,409. 107 square is equal to 11,449. 104 square is equal to 10,816. 91 square is equal to 8,281. Now, if you apply inductive reasoning, what will you first notice from the given data? Unang-una, may isip mo na ito ay square ng mga number na malapit sa 100. Like yung 33, 97, 91, 104, at 107. Now, base naman do sa mga square, if you notice, yung last digits ng mga square ay perfect square. These are 49, 9, 81, 16, and 49. So, you notice that the last two digits of the square of numbers near or close to 100 is a perfect square. So, again, ulitin ko, yung 49, yung 9, 81, 116, at 49 ay mga perfect square. Now, tuloy tayo mag-observe. So, ma-observe natin na yung last two digits of the square of the numbers near or close to 100 was obtained by getting the square of the absolute value of the difference of the number and 100. Makikita nyo na yung 49 ay na-obtain sa difference ng 93 sa 100, which is 7. Yung difference ng 100 sa 97 is 3. So, yung 9 nakuha sa 3 square. Yung difference ng 100 sa 91 ay 9. So, yung 81 nakuha sa 9 square. Then, yung difference ng 104 sa 100 ay 4. Yung 16 ay nakuha sa 4 square. At yung difference ng 107 sa 100 ay 7. So, we obtain 49. So, these numbers are the last two digits of the squares. Now, let's continue with our observation. So, let's compare yung 93 square and 7 square. So, kung titignan nyo, paano nakuha yung 86, 94, 82, 108, at 114. Tignan natin, i-compare natin yung 93 at 7. 97 and 3. Tignan natin yung 91 at 9. Yung 104 at 4. Yung 107 at 7. So, you will notice na yung 86 ay makukuha kapag sinubtract natin yung 93 sa 7. Yung 97, yung 94 ay makukuha kapag sinubtract natin yung 97 sa 3. At yung 82 ay makukuha kapag sinubtract natin yung 91 sa 9. At yung 104 ay makukuha kapag pag inad natin yung 4 sa 104 at yung 114 is obtained by adding 107 to 7. So, based on our observation, we can say that the remaining digits of the square of a number near to 100 are obtained by getting the result of the number minus 100. Then add the result to the number. So, yung number 93 minus 100 is negative 7. So, if you add it to 93, will give us 86. So, from there, from our observations, we draw the conclusion that the square of a number which is near to 100 can be solved mentally. The last digits are obtained by squaring the difference of the number to 100, while the remaining digits are obtained by the number minus 100, then add the result to the number. So from examples, from data, and from observations, we can generate a conclusion or a general rule in mathematics. So, yun lang kagandahan ng inductive reasoning. It is used for discovery. Deductive reasoning. Sa deductive reasoning, walang masyadong trabaho kasi we start with a general statement which are at first believed to be true. So, ang ating first statement is a number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digit is divisible by 9. Now, it is a true statement based on divisibility rule. Now, from that statement, we can arrive, let's say we add 4, 7, 6, 2, 3, and 5. And we come up that the sum is 27. And we know that 27 is a multiple of 9. Meaning to say, we can arrive with the conclusion that any 6-digit number whose digits are 4, 7, 6, 2, 3, and 5 written with no repetition in any order is divisible by 5. So, kahit pagbalik-balik ta rin natin yung number na 4, 7, 6, 2, 3, 5, isulat natin siyang number na magkakasama, kahit bali-baliktad yung order niya, yung place niya, still yung number will be divisible by 9. So, from this example, deductive reasoning or the conclusion from a deductive reasoning is that conclusions will arrive with another conclusion. So, let's use deductive and inductive reasoning in an argument. So, use deductive and inductive reasoning to write conclusions on the following argument. Write your answer. Let's have the first argument. A number must be both divisible by 2 and 3 to be divisible by 6. Then, the second statement says that an odd number if x is multiple by 3 or multiple of 3. Therefore, ano yung conclusion na may draw natin out of the two premises? Sa unang statement, sinasabi na dapat daw ang number ay kailangang pwedeng i-divide sa 2 at 3 na walang remainder. At sa second statement, it says that it is an odd number. So therefore, yung number represented by x is not divisible by 2, but it is divisible by 3. So, anong conclusion pwede natin makuha? X is not divisible by 6. In this case, we apply deductive reasoning. Kasi we draw from the first statement, which is a fact, by divisibility rule. So it is a rule in mathematics. Let's have the second argument. So the numbers 24, 64, 84, and 44 are all multiples of 4. Therefore, now from the first statement or sa ating premise, 24, 64, 84, 44 are all multiples of 4. If you observe, lahat ng ones digit niya ay 4. Now from our observation, we can conclude that whole numbers whose ones digits are divisible or whose ones digits are 4 are multiples of 4. Based on the first or based on the premise that yung number 24 nga ay 64 at 84 and 44 are multiples of 4. So this is an example of conjectures may or may not be true. Counter example may prove that a conjecture is not true. Tama nga yan, 24, 64, 84, 44, lahat yan ay multiple ng 4. But counter example may prove that not all numbers whose one digit are 4 ay multiple ng 4. Let's take for example yung pinakamababa na lang para mas madali. Number 14. So number 14 is not a multiple of 4. So ang reasoning na ginamit natin dito ay hindi. Based on examples, based on observation, we come up with the conclusion that all numbers whose one digit is 4 are multiples of 4. Let's have the third argument. Regular polygon is equilateral. ABCD is a regular polygon pentagon. Therefore, ano ang ating magiging conclusion? Sinabi na regular polygon is equilateral. At given that ABCD is a regular pentagon. So when you say regular, it is a regular polygon. So therefore, ABCD is equilateral. This time, we use deductive based on definition of regular polygon. Number 4, a child's teacher in preschool was a female. In his grade 1 and grade 2, his teachers were both female. The child may say that all teachers are female. Based on the child's experience and based on the child's experiences and observations, na-draw niya yung kanyang conclusion that lahat ng teacher ay babae. So this is what siyempre ang ginamit nating reasoning dito ay inductive, based on experience, based on observations. The last one is Filipinos are peace-loving people. Julia is a Filipino. Therefore, ano ang ating conclusion? Julia is a peace-loving people. And we use deductive reasoning based on a true statement or a fact that Filipinos are peace-loving people. Clarify ko lang, class, for students, dapat may comma after ng ating bawat conclusion. So, therefore, dapat may comma, hindi na siya nakita dito sa presentation natin. So, clarification, dapat may comma. So, let's proceed the next. So, I made a diagram for us to remember deductive and inductive reasoning. So, when you say deductive, start with the general rule or a general statement going to an specific example. Now, pag sinabing inductive, it starts from specific going to general to derive the conclusion. Then let's have lesson 2. Our competency is the learner writes a proof, both direct and indirect method. Our objective is to write a proof, both direct and indirect method. So our objective is to write a proof. So first, let's determine the definition of a proof. So a proof is a logical argument in which statement you make is supported and justified by given information. By definition, axioms, postulates, theorems, and previously proven statements. We have two types of proof or two methods of proving. We have the direct proof. In direct proof, we assume that the hypotenuse of a conjecture is true and then uses a series of logical deductions to prove that the conclusion of the conjecture is true. So in direct proof, we use a series of logical deductions. So pag direct proof, we are using deductive reasoning. Because dahil nga pag deductive reasoning, as long as your premises are true, there is no way or no possibility that your conclusion will be false. That's why we use deductive reasoning or the deductive method in a direct proof. An indirect proof is a method of reasoning usually written in a paragraph form and assume that the opposite of the statement to be proven is true until it will lead to a contradiction. So sa direct proof, direktang patutunayan natin na yung conclusion ay totoo. Sa indirect proof, ang gagawin naman natin, patutunayan natin na yung conclusion ay hindi totoo. Para ma-prove that the conjecture is true. Kasi kapag nagkaroon ng contradiction dun sa ating pag-prove, meaning that the theorem or any mathematical situation that we're going to prove ay totoo. So in proving theorems, you must follow these steps. Read and understand the theorem. Label the hypothesis as given and the conclusion as true. Draw the figure and label the parts correctly. Write the proof, which consists of the statement and reason, and present the proof using prepared method. You have the two-column proof or in paragraph form. Usually, ang indirect proof pwede ng paragraph form, but we can also use the two-column proof sa indirect proof. So we can use properties of equality, subtraction property, multiplication property, division property, substitution property of real numbers, and addition property of equality. And we can also use properties of congruence, the reflexive property, symmetric property, and transitive property. So let's have an example. Given a conditional statement, if 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1, then x is equal to negative 3. We're going to prove that x is equal to negative 3. So we will prove the conclusion. Since we are using deductive reasoning in a direct proof, we start with first a true statement. So sigurado tayo na totoo dun sa statement na 2x plus 5 is equal to 1. Kasi given yun eh. Kaya totoo talaga yun. We are sure that it is a true statement. Then from 2x plus 5, we can derive 2x is equal to negative 6. Kasi nga, we are going to prove x is equal to negative 3. So, dapat dun papunta yung ating pagpo-prove. Yung equation ay x is equal to negative 3. Ngayon, paano natin nakuha yung 2x is equal to negative 5? So, dapat ang ating statement ay masusuportahan ng tamang reasons. Or bago tayo gumawa ng statement, sure tayo that we can show or a valid reason, give a valid reason kung paano tayo naka-arrive dun sa sumunod na statement. So we come up with that statement by the addition property of equality. By adding negative 5 to both sides of the equation, in statement 1, we have the resulting equation 2x is equal to negative 6. Now, we're going to prove that x is equal to negative 3. Now, in second statement, meron na tayong 2x is equal to negative 6. Ang gagawin na lang natin ay tatanggalin yung numerical coefficient ng x para maging x is equal to negative 3. So, from that, we can say that x is equal to negative 3. By simply dividing both sides of the equation of 2x is equal to negative 6 by positive 2, we will arrive with the resulting equation x is equal to negative 3. Or by multiplying both sides of the equation by 1/2, we will arrive with the resulting equation x is equal to negative 3. So we arrive with x is equal to negative 3 by the multiplication property of equality. So we have already proven that x is equal to negative 3 given the premise that 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1. So therefore, the conditional statement 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1, then x is equal to negative 3 is a true statement. Now, let's prove it by direct proof. So, direct proof, we will write and we will prove that the conclusion is not true. Or, the negation of the conclusion is a true statement. So, what is the negation of the conclusion. Our conclusion is x is equal to negative 3. So, ang kanyang opposite ay x is not equal to negative 3. So, that is our assumption based on indirect proof. So, negation of the conclusion or the opposite of the conclusion. So, we will prove that x is not equal to negative 3. Then, from there on, kapag nagkaroon ng contradiction, we already proved that the conditional statement is a true statement. So, let's have given that 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1. So, that's our given. Then again, remove it by adding negative 5 to both sides of the equation. We will arrive with 2x is equal to negative 6. So, by multiplication property of equality, we're multiplying both sides of the equation by 1/2. We will arrive with x is equal to negative 3. So that is multiplication property of equality, and we can see from our statements that in statement number 1, x is equal to not equal to negative 3. And in our fourth statement, x is equal to negative 3. So, there is a contradiction between statement 1 and 4. Because a number cannot, or x cannot be both equal at hindi equal. So, x cannot be both equal and unequal to negative 3. From the given conditional statement. So, isa lang ang pwedeng value ng x dyan that will satisfies the equation 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1. So, therefore, we prove that the conditional statement 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1, then x is equal to negative 3 is a true statement. Let's have another. So that ends my discussion. Muli, nais kong magpasalamat sa lahat ng mga kasama kong math teacher sa City of Mandaluyong Science High School, sa aming head na si Mr. Loreto Nerbar, maraming salamat sir, sa aming principal na si Mr. Roderick R. Menjola, sir, maraming salamat. Sa ating math supervisor Sir Resty Rodelas, maraming salamat. At binabati ko ang aking mga grade 9 students sa City of Mandaluyong Science High School at aking mga grade 7 students. Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig, and maraming salamat din kay ma'am sa dating principal ng City of Mandaluyong Science High School, Ma'am Corazon Pihino. Thank you. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig at sa panonood. Magandang araw, and to God be the glory.